gradually building back to that pace, but it's nice to have variety, isn't it? Well, first I offer my respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who single-handedly brought the Sankirtan movement to the Western countries and manifested from his pure heart the various centers and devotees and books. And now we've inherited that. He bequeathed it to us. Not only all the literature that he wrote and the association that he created, but also the service itself. So I offer my respectful obeisances to all of you. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripasinabhevacha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I must say it's my hope to stick with all of you, stay on the field and run out the clock, performing Sankirtan till our last days, so that we can please the previous acharyas. There's nothing more to be had if we can do that. So thank you, everybody, so much. And Bhagavata Shraya Prabhu, thanks for getting on the call tonight. So happy to see you. And if I start naming names, I'll get emotional. I won't be able to stop. But just seeing you here, isn't it reminiscent of that time? I mean, last year was a memory, isn't it? Of such an intense time when we all felt together and we knew what to do. And Lord Chaitanya just showed us the way. He just showed us the way, and we did it together all the way through. And so we want to carry that on. We know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to support us and the next phases of this book distribution movement. And it really is a movement. Within a movement, it's the seventh purpose of ISKCON that helps to fulfill, or he says, by which the six aforementioned purposes will be fulfilled. And therefore, we've been calling it the tip of the spear. It's the way that we can measure very carefully our progress. It's one of the ways that Prabhupada measured progress, how books were being printed and distributed all over the world. And what to speak of all the lucky recipients, the people who get them. Tonight, I'm going to speak about an authorized and joyful way to increase the consciousness, the Krishna consciousness of the beloved communities that we all live in, of devotees. These are rare souls. Manushyanam sahasreshu kasyid yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kashyin mameti tatvataha. Krishna affirms it in the Gita that these souls who come with specific interest in Krishna consciousness are the rarest of the rare. Just needles in a haystack. So, in our communities, there's a way in which, if we organize book distribution so that it's fun and easy, people will have the opportunity to join in, and they'll have the experience that will sustain them throughout this lifetime in Krishna consciousness. It will give them the wherewithal to hear and chant more eagerly. They'll have more purpose in it. And so, what is that? And why did I say it's authorized? Well, Srila Prabhupada conceived of this. Several times he wrote letters in which he said that everyone in the temple should go out. He gave that edict. Everyone should go out and one person should stay back and take care of the deities and do all the cooking. He didn't say every day, but he said at least once a month. So the Monthly Sankirtan Festival is something that Prabhupada himself saw as important, and he wanted everyone to have the experience of going out and doing book distribution. In fact, I write about this in Our Family Business, a book about the history and the mood of book distribution and how how Prabhupada's books are the primal sound vibration of ISKCON. And in it, Prabhupada said, I want everyone, all the devotees, to learn the art of distributing books. And he did it. He knows what it is. He's not just asking us to do it because he needs the money or he wants to be famous because his books are going out. He knows what it is. And he saw it for himself, and he's giving it to us as a gift. So we should share that gift with everybody in the community. And it doesn't happen by accident. It has to be inculcated. And to do that, there has to be advocacy. And to have advocacy, there has to be faith in the process that it's authorized and that it's worthy of being pursued, because any project takes a lot of energy to pursue. By the way, if you feel like turning your cameras on, you can. I'm just saying you don't have to. But if you do, it's okay. This isn't one of those shows where we insist that everyone stay hidden, because we like you, actually. And it's you know, each new person who comes into the Zoom, unless you're building a new car or something like that, which might be interesting, but if there's some frenetic activity going on, multitasking, I understand, and it's okay. Okay, so Monthly Sankirtan Festival is, as I said, something Prabhupada had conceived of previously. It was really put in cold storage for a while. And when I got to Silicon Valley, not that I got to Silicon Valley, but I got to ISKCON of Silicon Valley. Actually, the temple moved closer. I was sitting here minding my own business, and some devotees moved up nearby and said, hey, we just have a little center here. They had Radha Krishna deities in a house, and a bunch of brahmacharis fresh out of Los Angeles who had just relocated. And then one thing happened after another, and it came down to the fact they were looking for some guidance. I went into the first little meeting they had, and I said, so how can I help? And they said, we'd like to build a temple, a shining temple on the hill. And I said, sorry, I can't help you. I'm not into building temples. They said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, just distribute books. Let's preach. And Krishna, later on, he'll drop a temple on our head. How about that? And they said, okay, that sounds like a good plan. So with the few devotees that were there, a householder community, it was just maybe 6-7 devotees total at that time. We bootstrapped our way up. I remember the first table, we decided we were going to use a table in the temple room and put some books on it, and we were the book department. We couldn't afford $100 at that time in our temple. So to get a table, we had to beg, who could throw in some money to buy a table. We got a table, and then we were thinking how to get the Sankirtan party going. A few devotees had tried going out here and there, but let's get something organized. So we decided we would start something called, and we thought of it at the spur of the moment, the Monthly Sankirtan Festival. And we would all go out together, all 7 of us, at some place, and just try to distribute books. So we did that. And the first month, everyone was so excited, they said, let's do it every week. And I said, no, why don't we just try staying at once a month? And after a few months, they said, let's do it every other month. It's kind of hard. I said, let's keep it at a month. And we caught our stride after some time. And we after the first goal, which was just to go out together, we started with more ambitious goals. And I remember the first time we set a goal, or at least I set a goal, pushed for 100 books. We would do 100 books in one day or one weekend. And some of the devotees came to me and complained and said, that's like outrageous. That could never happen. You know, like, they were like, you're pushing a little hard. And I wrote an article. It's probably archived somewhere from 2007 on Dandavats. It got published like I think it was something about the magic of thinking big. And I pushed back and I said, no, we have to go for something that's exciting. And the devotees surprised themselves. I think they did 150 books that day, and they said, wow, this is a magical process. And since then, we never looked back. We kept setting bigger and bigger goals. From 150 books, the last 3 years, we've given almost close to $2 million to the BBT from our little one-horse temple here in Silicon Valley. We over the years, just by hitting new goals every month, we've been able to enliven the community, bring ourselves up to a position where, last year we gave over $600,000 to the BBT. Year before also, and 500,000, 10% more every year we've done since we started. And so we've seen it happen, and then going out to other temples where devotees were interested in this idea. It's been successful also. Toronto has been a huge success. Same kind of idea as householder community. It's not divisions of labor. Some Buddhists, everybody goes out together on the Monthly Sankirtan Festival. It started like that. Sometimes it shakes down a little bit to the Pareto principle, 80-20. But it's still, the concept is there that everybody's involved one way or another in the community. And we've seen it in DC and many other places who have taken up the Monthly Sankirtan Festival. Now it's spreading all over the world. It's a way to engage everybody in the community. So before I go much further, and I will go further, I'd like to see if you just to start off, if you have any questions specifically, just so I get a taste for who's on the call and who's interested in what. I mean, you're taking a lot of trouble to be on this call. It takes a lot of effort to sit and look at these Zoom screens, since most of you do it all day anyway. So please tell me why you're here. What specific thing did you hope for by coming tonight? And you could put it either in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and tell me what you think.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. My humble obeisances, Prabhupada ki jai. Guru Maharaj, I'm here because we have our MSF next weekend, and it's exciting because all of the temples are coming together, Bhakti Center, Radha Govinda, the Harinam devotees, and we're planning a nice MSF next Saturday, just a day before Gaur Purnima. So I'm excited, and I'm here to seek some inspiration from your lotus-like mouth.
Well, why are they coming together, Godruma Prana?
We've been missing this one aspect of all different temples coming together. Each of the centers have wonderful programs, but now it's exciting because you're all coming together, especially after COVID. You've realized it's so important to regroup and support each other and encourage one another. So this time it's exciting. All the 3 temples in New York, we're coming together, and I'm excited. Just a day before Gaur Purnima.
Very interesting. So there's 3 separate communities in New York, and each one there are communications going on between the 3 of them, and they're gonna collaborate and all come out together. Is that the correct understanding?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you. Really nice. Let's hear a couple more. Why are you here?
Hare Krishna, Vaisheshika
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna Prabhu, nice to see you.
Businesses, close to Shri Prabhupada.
Hari Hari Bo.
Always want to get inspiration from you, Prabhu. Yeah, it was interesting when you brought up about the one Prabhupada wanted all the devotees to go out at least once a month. I remember in the late 70s and early 80s, besides the traveling Sankirtan body, we have all the devotees going out once a week on bhakti distribution, and only the pujari and the cook remain in the temple. Everyone, and there was a really, really nice Sankirtan atmosphere in the temple because everyone was pushing in the same direction. So yeah, my experience on book distribution has been mostly on the street, very old style. So I'm here to learn what are the new developments in book distribution around the world, and hopefully help the devotees in Malaysia to organize themselves and create a community around book distribution. Because when devotees go and distribute books, they really get a taste of the nectar of what we are all looking for. And they get so much mercy from the Guru Parampara, from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, that is just blissful. So I'm here to learn
Thank you
how
so
to
much,
implement
Prabhu.
that.
I get inspiration just by seeing you. You're a stalwart. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Munjaranja Devi Dasi, why are you here?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare, Hare Krishna, Vaishnav Prabhu. It's such an honor to be here. So I'm from the Auckland community, and we have an outreach center here. It's called as the Loft. And through periods of time, we've had a monthly Sankirtan festival. That's been going. But what has happened is that it goes for some time and it starts out with a bang, and there's a few devotees in it. But then as the months go by, the number of devotees who keep coming regularly dwindles, it goes down. And then finally, it just remains, what remains is are the few devotees who anyway are regular book distributors. And then finally, just the whole thing stops. So this year, what we've done is that we've restarted it. We've restarted the monthly Sankirtan Festival. And yeah, I remember I was listening to one of your lectures earlier, and in that we were saying that when you started it, you started it quite small, and you just decided to keep going, irrespective of how many devotees were going out, irrespective of how small your group was, and then it expanded from there. So my question is that how do we keep this core group, no matter how small it is, how do we keep them inspired to not just stop?
Yeah, what a great question. And I can relate to that, the ebbs and flows that's there in any organization, and how to build momentum, keep momentum is a perennial question, actually, in any organization. What motivates people? Why do they want to come out? Well, the genesis really for everything is spiritual inspiration. So there has to, when there's an arrangement for the devotees to hear and chant together, and they're getting some taste from hearing and chanting, then it's natural that they want to go out and share it. When you have taste, you want to share it with other people. So that's important to see where you can build in the hearing and chanting in groups where the devotees can be together, hear and chant together. That's one thing that really helps. And it's also helpful if there's advocacy from the leaders in the temple as well. I met with the GBCs, the GBC body at the AGM recently, as I do every year, to give a full report of what's going on in the world for book distribution. And as I kept asking the last few years, GBCs, we were trying to figure out on our team, MCI, Marketing, Communications, Innovations, what should we be asking them for? I mean, what can they do? They're busy. They're doing all kinds of things. They do prioritize book distribution. It's the first thing always in the agenda. And so this year we figured it out. What we asked them for, it's advocacy. And we emphasize that. And they got that, and they appreciated it. If they say, yes, this is a good thing, you should do it, then the energies tend to line up a little better. And so that's helpful also. We've found in keeping an MSF going, it's important to have not just external outreach, but also in-reach, where we're preaching to our own people that this is important, and allowing them to do their work. So if the GBCs and the temple presidents can advocate for it, they don't have to do anything more than that. If they go out once for 5 minutes, that's okay too. that also makes a big difference. That's a kind of advocacy. But even minus that, you can just, all they have to say is this is a good thing. Also, we put the MSF front and center as part of the overall ritual of the temple process. So, as an example, for Gaur Purnima, it's coming up now, we will have, as part of the festivities, there'll be Abhishek, there'll be a class, there'll be Kirtan, and then we will have an offering, an offering that includes everything that we've done towards the MSF. And we do it very ceremoniously. Everybody stands before Prabhupada's Vyasasana, and then the Sankirtan leader will read out like what every department did. As you know, probably we don't do individual scores. We just talk about what the different team divisions did and what the overall goal was. We celebrate the offering. What that does is it brings attention to the whole community that this is important. This is what we're doing together. That helps also in kind of keeping it front and center. For a while, we used to make a very elaborate and actually expensive poster for every MSF. Devotees, we had to have them made in India and shipped over. And we did it regularly, huge posters. And devotees like, why you want to spend so much for a one-time thing? And I said, because when the devotees see that, they take it seriously. Hey, we just spent $375 for a poster. You better do big. You better go out. No, we didn't say that, but that's the feeling, you build it up and make sure that its importance is known to everybody. So those are a few ideas, a few things that help. And also, having meetings with the devotees and finding out how they're doing, just talking and discussing. That's one of the other aspects of the MSF that's been really helpful and successful, is having what we call the GNAB, the Good News Action Broadcast. And so we make sure that we're constantly sharing good news, piping it in as much as possible. Anukul Seva, do you think of any other things that, since you've been there from the ground up in Toronto, seeing the MSF for the years, what are some of the elements that you've seen that help to keep things going there?
I think, Maharaj, personally for me, just talking about why it's important to go out before each MSF has been very useful. And I think devotees also really appreciate that. Just sitting down for 10, 15 minutes and discussing, the training material or just the reason why we are going out, it lifts the mood and sustains the enthusiasm.
So training and also talking about why we're doing it. And another point comes to mind, and this is a perennial principle for people to go out. We remind them what the goal is. It's not to sell books. That comes as a shock to some people, and we tell them over and over again, and they look at us like, you're kidding, right? And we say, no, the goal is to go out and touch the pavement. That's all we have to do. In fact, that's become our hashtag, right? Anukul? So hashtag touch the pavement. So you tell everybody, just go out for the experience of crossing the threshold of the temple room or your apartment door, or if you live wherever you live in a van by the river, come out and, step out and touch the pavement and be counted that I came out. And you don't have to do anything after that to prove yourself. That's it. And if you keep the bar really low, then it helps people to, just come along with it. And then, of course, make it fun. And I think, what does fun mean? One of the things that makes it fun is good prasadam. If you advertise, we're having pizza, people will go, heck, oh, come along. Or, just, like a fun, festive environment. Like before we go out, everybody puts their hands in the circle, like you do on a sports team. And then, put your hands in, we do a prayer, and then, and we have a lot of fun, actually. Are you thinking of other things, Anukul Seva?
No, Maharaj, there's another question from Bhavasandhi Mataji in the chat, which
Okay, let's do
transitions.
that. And then I'll go to some slides and maybe it'll help solidify some of these answers. Yes.
Yes, Maharaj. She asks, how do we balance setting a low bar, such as success is touching the pavement, and then setting large goals?
Yeah, it's like if you've ever built a fire. Have any of you ever built a fire by hand? You know, when you build a fire, I used to do it a lot. We used to go camping a lot with my family, and so I liked it. My dad taught me how to build a fire. You start with the lightest materials. That's the foundation. So a lot of fires get started with a little bit of newspaper or a wad of newspaper, and then on top of it you put what's called kindling. Kindling means the smallest little sticks that you can find because they're going to start easily. On top of the kindling, you can start putting medium-sized wood, and then you light it. And it starts from the light stuff, and then it burns the kindling, and then the other things catch fire, and then you can throw the big logs on. If you just throw a big log on top and then try to light it, it's not going to go. So start with something that it's easy to combust, and it builds a lot of heat. So, the balance is like that. It's an art to starting a fire. So you start with, what gets the devotees excited. And we're always setting some goal, some fresh challenge, because humans like fresh challenges. They want to try to meet them. I've given this example, but it always strikes me when I walk past on my morning and evening walk, the basketball courts in the park nearby. And people stand there all day long trying to throw a ball through a hole. And really, if I came from another planet, I didn't know anything about basketball and couldn't relate to it, I just look at it and think, that's really weird. Why are they doing that all day long? And because it's there, because there's a hoop there, so everyone's like, let's throw the ball through, and it becomes an obsession. So when you create any kind of goal for the devotees, even if it's just going out the door, that's something. And then when you start to see the fire going, then you have to put some fuel on it. You can't just burn kindling, otherwise it'll just burn right out. So you put bigger and bigger logs on, because the devotees need it. We need bigger goals now. And in fact, we here at ISV, which is our laboratory, one of our tenets, our bylaws is that we export whatever we get as fast as we can to as many places as we can. That's our ethos. So we found, like around Radhashtami, for a few weeks towards that holy day, we wouldn't have any monetary goals or book goals. So just go out. And then the devotees after Radhashtami, they complained. They said, that wasn't any fun. There was nothing to go for. So, it really depends on the size of your operation. And the leaders have to watch and see how much fuel you have to put on the fire to keep the devotees happy. So that was Prabhupada's direction. He said, always create a fresh challenge so that the devotees want to rise up and meet it. So, as I've said many times, it's not important. It's arbitrary, actually, what the number is. Because, here it comes, birds fly in the sky as high as they're able. But the sky is unlimited. So it really doesn't matter what the goal is. It matters if it's relevant to the devotees who are engaged in the process. And a little bit of a stretch so they can feel that magic that they made it and they didn't do it. It was Lord Chaitanya did it because they tried. They were instrumental. Well, now I'm going to show some slides because it might give a little form to this. And I'm going to share my screen. And when it comes to the videos, I think that if I come to that, I'm going to have you do it, okay, Anukul Seva?
Yes, Maharaj, that's good.
Okay. Okay, so
Hare Krishna. My name is Mahapati.
I spoke about how we're aligned with the Parampara doing this, and that the order is a manifestation of the Lord's internal potency. And I sort of indicated about how this principle of the community gets lifted up by the process of book distribution. It can be expressed in this phrase, a rising tide lifts all boats. And that really success is it's not a mystery, it's a recipe. So what is the recipe? What are some of the points that are really important? The 4 laws of book distribution are solid. Anyone who follows these 4 laws will be successful individually or collectively. And here they are. The first is your sadhana must be strong. When your sadhana is strong, when the community is emphasizing it, pushing for better sadhana, then it's natural that the devotees feel inspired to distribute, because you distribute what you have, and what you have is a taste. And when you have that taste, then you have a look in your eye, you have a countenance that's different from others, and that's what people are attracted to. And that's what gets exciting about book distribution. So number 1 is to emphasize sadhana. Number 2 is to get books. Don't be afraid to invest in books. Sometimes I'll travel to temples and then, they don't know how much is in the book room. They don't have books. Oh, sorry, we don't have anything. How are you going to distribute books when you don't have them? It doesn't make any sense at all. And so you have to get books. Don't be afraid to invest in books. It's a good investment. It comes back in multiples. The 3rd law is the more you show, the more you sell. You have to make things visible. And really, this is a principle that works everywhere, because jivas are observant. And when you just take time to make sure that you're showing books in every way that you possibly can, then you're going to do well. Malini Preeti, she's been putting up on Facebook pictures of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and she's selling them. Why? Because she's following the 3rd law. I guarantee you, if you take a set of Chaitanya Charitamritas out of your warehouse right now, or your car, wherever it is, and make it more visible, people will take it. Somebody's going to come along and take it. And it's a principle that works everywhere. And the 4th law is that you must organize. Organization's fun. You just take time to write down where there's room for improvement and what you're doing well, and then make at least 3 improvements every month. And if you do that, then you're constantly growing. Obviously, much more to say about that. I wrote a book about it. But if you just follow those basic principles in organization, you're going to be successful individually and collectively. So those are the 4 laws that you have to follow. And here's how to organize an MSF. Collect Sankirtan spots. Have a team, or at least a person, somebody who's going around and researching where are the spots. We might miss them if we don't look for them. You have to investigate. Look into the laws. Where do they allow us to set up? Where are there a lot of people? What are the demographics? What are the psychographics? Look into the area that you have allotted to you by Krishna and see what you've got to work with. Get maps, put them on your wall. Look up on Google about the population densities and who lives where, what, how, what kind of things they read. Find out, collect these Sankirtan spots. This is the preliminary stage. You have to look. New York City, whenever I'm there, I'm driving around, I'm constantly on Google saying, what's this neighborhood? Who lives here? What languages do they speak? You have to, if you wanted to conquer New York City, you'd have to chalk it out, get it on your wall and see how are we going to go about this, and find the spots that work for you strategically. So a good spot is legal. These are the best spots, legal for MSF, because you got new people coming out. You don't want to throw them into a place that's they're going to get kicked out or arrested or something like that, because that makes them a little nervous sometimes. It should be legal, safe, populated, and easy. New people, when you start the MSF, don't throw them in the downtown area where people are jamming them. Try to find underhand pitch so they can hit the ball over and over again and have a good experience. Prasadam should be first class. Always get the best cooks for the MSF if you can, and go out of your way to make nice prasadam for devotees. We've had carry-out lunches for our devotees that go on MSF. Even if they're snacks, we have nice prasadam in the morning, nice prasadam when they come back, nice prasadam for them to hand out to people. Let prasadam flow. That's what keeps living entities happy, is prasadam. And this is the best way to make it fun. And then elders and kids need special arrangement. They're going to come out too, but you got to facilitate them. Like kids need special guardians to go with them who know how to handle the kids and to encourage them and keep them engaged. Sometimes they can't concentrate for as long, so you got to take breaks in between. Sometimes they need more snacks. Sometimes they need a sit down and explain why they just got rejected and things like that. But they'll get it and they'll love it. And old people, make sure if there's elders coming out, you don't throw them out into the cold. They might need a chair to sit on or something. So take care for those who have special needs. Organize your books. When the book room's organized and when you're going out and all the books are pre-counted, they're already pre-apportioned for the different parties going out, really thoughtfully. This can sometimes take a lot of planning. This goes to the fourth law of book distribution organization. But it's so worth it because one of the experiences that you want your people to have in the MSF is that it's easy. Remember, that was one of the tenets, make it easy. So make sure it's pre-digested. They don't have to think a lot. They don't have to figure out all the things they have to get and make sure everything's packed neatly. It seems just like seamless. There's no gaps in between. Language cards. The process for distributing books in a metropolitan area where there are people that speak various languages, you should have the books. That's one of the meanings of the second law of book distribution, which is, what's the second law of book distribution? Go ahead, Anukul, you can unmute and say it.
Get books.
That's right. So you got to get books. So get books in different languages. It's actually a travesty, and we should feel the pain if we meet somebody and we don't have the book in their language. We should have researched it ahead of time. That, oh yeah, there's Vietnamese people in this area. Well, take some, Vietnamese books and make sure they're in a special box where you can find them and that you know what a Vietnamese letter looks like. So you know what it is. Should be labeled. And also we have language cards that you can download on distributebooks.com. It's really easy to distribute books in foreign languages when you don't know the language. You just have to hand them the book, hand them the card, stand in mountain pose and wait for them to give a donation. Invest in tools. Don't be cheap. Buy the best stuff. When you're getting carts, tables, any tools that the devotees are using for Sankirtan, get the best stuff, not cheapo productions. And make sure you get everything you need. Invest in Sankirtan. Don't use broken stuff. Don't use old stuff. Don't use ugly stuff. Buy the best thing that you can find, top of the line in tools. Book bags, kirtan instruments, no broken stuff, please. Sound systems should be first class. Yeah, when we do our Harinams, we have high-end speakers, Bose. We have mixer boards, the whole thing. The sound is important. Credit card, call machine. We have a credit card acceptance. You should empower all the devotees because most people pay by credit card nowadays, and you have to make sure they can take in all the different payment forms that people have. Have good signage, no hand painted signs, no cheap stuff. Make sure it's done. It's branded. It's professional, and display tables and racks. All these kinds of things you invest in. And then keep in touch with people that you meet, because when you have a system, you meet somebody, bring them back, and then you plug them into association and you see them becoming devotees. It becomes 10 times more successful, and the devotees know that there's a follow through, therefore they're more enthusiastic. I could say a lot more about this. We do have some very successful programs right now that are amazingly bringing in all kinds of new people and sustaining them after Sankirtan devotees meet them. And one of the benefits of the MSF is it creates service. It creates service for everybody. So there's Sankirtan leaders needed. There's team leads. There's book distributors, kirtan leaders, drivers, book room managers, accountants, communications directors, prasadam team. These are just a few samples, but there are all kinds of categories. It's like a corporation when you develop it. And if you empower people correctly as you go along, they'll be happy to have some service. And it is one of the ways to keep people engaged, because ownership turns sand into gold. They have a service to perform, so they'll likely show up for it when it means something to them. A sample MSF looks like this. There's a morning program and then breakfast together. A little Sankirtan training. As Anukul Seva Prabhu was saying earlier, do a little training. You can show a few skits about what to say to whom, how. And then the outing, everyone goes out together, and then there's lunch and nectar stories. I'll say something that I think is extremely important about organization and an MSF and about going out. The hardest thing about the MSF is just walking out the door. I'll say it again. The hardest thing about the MSF is just walking out the door. So make it easy to walk out the door. And part of that is transportation. Troop movement is the hardest thing. And, if you're going from point A, wherever the community is starting from, to point B, wherever you're sending the devotees, it can be to multiple spots or to one spot, depending on how many people you have and how many spots you have available in your area. But make sure that the transportation is prepared well ahead of time. Oh man, I could say that 10 times because it's so important. It's the hardest part is troop movement. Make sure you spend time ahead of time so everything else can go well. Everyone's excited. They walk out the door and go, who's going in whose car? How are we getting there? Which train are we supposed to take? And nobody knows. So everyone's an hour late. And no, make sure that everyone has a car that has a number on it, or the train you've printed out or sent to everybody on their devices, exactly which train to take to get to the place where they're meeting. Invest a lot of time and energy, leaders, talking to you, in making sure that the transportation is together. Did I say it enough times, Anukul Seva?
Just enough.
Okay, just enough. Just enough. Okay. Let me just ask, how is this going, watching the slides so far? Are you picking up, and is this helpful? Anything new? Anything that you saw that's working? Rajan Vinod, Devidasi, what did you see that you appreciated there?
Hare Krishna Vaisheshika Prabhu. Thank you for the inputs. As you mentioned repeatedly, the transportation should be taken care. The kids and the elders should be taken care while we go out. And the hardest thing is getting out and taking people to the spot. So that'll be, we make sure that that's taken care. And it's more on the leaders to organize, find out the right spots and have invest on the tools and also have placards and display the books. And the more you show, the more we distribute. And we are investing on getting the books as well. So a lot of inputs and a lot of inspiration. Thank you, Prabhu.
You have a memory like a steel trap. That's amazing. That was like magical how you did that. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
How is it? How are the slides going, everybody?
I've
Little
taken
feedback.
I've
What?
taken screenshots as you speak, Prabhu.
Oh, that's smart. Very nice.
I'll forward it to the team. We have a member, like we have a Sankirtan group. I'll share it, and yeah, hopefully others will also be inspired.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, good. Yeah, that's really what we had in mind here is a concentration of the leaders and number one, advocacy. Number two, taking up the four laws and taking these basic principles of the MSF and organizing them so that they can go out regularly. Does anybody else want to share a reflection from what we've seen so far in the slides? It helps me because when you say what you saw, it kind of amplifies it. I get an idea of how things are going. Can we post the recording? Yes. Yes, Bhagavata Prabhu.
I'm really impressed by the logistics approach, where you've got people analyzing the place where you are to find out what are the places to go to, and what is easy and what is well populated and so on. That seems to me like that's a very, very important aspect of it all. Because, like you say, the hardest thing is to get yourself out the door. And one of the things that helps is you know where you're going, and once you've done it a few times, also that mystery of going places and doing something is an impetus. So if that's very well planned and very strategically laid out, I think that's a major thing.
Yeah, thank you very much for that reflection. As you know, as well as I do, in the old days, the part of the religion of the Hare Krishna movement was to make sure you didn't pay for anything. So we would sneak into every event because we thought giving away even a couple dollars for something was sinful. But what we've also found out is that there are a lot of places that don't mind us distributing books if we just ask and follow the rules. So one thing I found out was, as an example, we have a plaza near Stanford University, not too far from our temple. And for years, we used to just go out there and do Harinam and a little book distribution. And then, we started, there was a competition. There were other groups that would come out, sometimes people with amplified instruments, and sometimes Christians would compete for the spot. And finally, it just said, hey, go ask City Hall, investigate it. We had our team look into it. Can we get a permit for this place? And they came back and said, yes, we can get a permit, and it's not that expensive. So they went down to the permit office and they said, we'd like to get a permit for Friday nights, for 5 hours. And they said, sir, we don't give permits. And our lead there said, no, actually you do. It's right on your website. And they looked, the people in the office looked and they go, oh, I guess we do. And they gave us a permit. And we pull a permit. It only cost us $75. And we set up a mini festival. Looks like Rath Yatra with little tents and all kinds of things. And we have a fantastic Harinam. We sell thousands of books from that spot. And it costs $150,000 less than Rath Yatra to put on. And all that came with just a little research about the spot. So it really helps out. Nikunjavasini, were you going to say something? You don't have to. I just
No,
thought you appeared with it. Okay.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Mine too. Hare Krishna.
I was just going to reflect some of the couple of things that I thought that you mentioned that was really important was the prasadam. Prasadam should be like what you said, first class. And it's kind of like it attracts the devotees to inspires the devotees to come along. Prasadam is, I guess, one of the most important thing in ISKCON. And the other thing you mentioned was to get books for people who are other languages, the cards, the language cards, which is on the website. So yeah, I had got those a couple of years ago, and I printed them and laminated them. So that was really helpful. So thank you for doing that. Those cards.
Thanks for mentioning those
Yeah.
points. And when we first started, oh, please go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, and the other thing was to use good quality things for Krishna. So I thought that is really important, and not cheapo stuff.
No cheapo productions.
Thank you,
.com.
Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you very much. Nandini Kishori, my obeisances.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this, your time, most valuable time. Maharaj, I have a question. In our MSF, Sri Vrindavan Devidasi, she took up many roles and did wonderfully for a year, MSF pre-pandemic. How do we motivate others to do the role? And how does this change when it's a calling party?
Well, what I found is that one of the jobs of the leaders is to keep our eyes open for talent, but even more than talent, for enthusiasm. As an example, when we do brainstorming sessions and you notice somebody who raises their hand and says, we need to have an accounting system. It's like, well, how do you know? Do you know something about accounting? It's like, yeah, I'm an accountant. And, it's like, all right, you're in charge. We just hire them on the spot. We see people that have talent and they have enthusiasm, and we just empower them left and right, because it's a volunteer army. And when you see people come in that are excited about something and want to do it, try to grab them. It's better to over delegate and empower than it is to under delegate and empower and try to consolidate, and hold on to the power. It's Michel's law of oligarchy. When people get in charge of something, they just try to protect their own power. And during the pandemic, we used the same principles. And here's one of the principles that we used during the pandemic that I think was the most successful of all. And it really, it's something metaphysical. It's not really a tool, so to speak. It's a principle. And that was, we assumed that it could be done. When the pandemic started, we came up with mottos. We designed the mottos ahead of time. We said, never waste a good pandemic. A good crisis. Never waste a good crisis. That was our motto. Fail forward fast. And just that this can be done. And I saw literally, and you were there for so many of them, but every place that we visited around the world in Zoom rooms during the pandemic, when we were doing all the marathons, the places where they hadn't heard about, that somebody was actually doing well during the pandemic, they sort of had already assumed that it couldn't be done. And we said, no, there's a different mantra we're using. It can be done. Just start with that and then work backwards from there. And there miracles happen. If you just say, assume it can be done. It can be done. We can do this. And now how are we going to do it? That's the only question. And so that's what we did during the pandemic. And we don't know how we did it. We never know how we do anything. In fact, every time I go out on book distribution nowadays, and for many years, actually, when I go out, I have a bunch of people following me because they, I have a reputation. You're a book distributor, right? Okay, let's see you do it. So I'm always praying to Krishna and go, let's see me do it. Are you going to help out here or not? And, with the Monthly Sankirtan Festival and with the community Sankirtan, it's that thrill that we don't know how we're going to do it. We just know that we are going to do it. And then Lord Chaitanya shows us how. So we figured out calling parties because we decided ahead of time that that it can be done. And that not only that we got indignant. We said, we're not going to let this keep us down. We're not taking this sitting down. We're going to hit back. You got to have some spirit like an army. And the devotees just got up for it, and we did bigger than ever. And so that's the spirit that really gets it done. Okay, we've got Mukunda Kumar. Please.
Oh.
Hari Bol. It looks like a hurricane coming or something like that. You two are on mute. Okay, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. This is Ramanuja Das and Mukunda Kumar Prabhu here from ISKCON Brisbane.
Haribol.
Haribol. So this year we got a lot of inspiration from you, Prabhu, to do something special for Srila Prabhupada for his 125th anniversary. And the devotees have put in a lot of effort here. So we decided to distribute 12,500 books this year for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. And the strategy that has been used is we just made packs of 125 books, and we just need to give it to 100 devotees. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. So we are 50 packs down, and the next 50 packs is going out soon as well. So we just need the blessings of all you nice Vaishnavas so we can put a smile on Srila Prabhupada's face.
Mukunda, that's brilliant. The thing is, anything you want to do, and especially with book distribution, this is why book distribution lends itself well to goal setting, is there's units that we're dealing with, and you can count them. How many units go out, how many units come back. So what Mukunda Prabhu and his team have done, it's like, okay, here's the number, let's divide it up into smaller packets. And then now, how many of these packets do we have to give out? Each person only has to do this many. So if you think like that, you can do anything. You can move mountains. In fact, you know what else you can do? You can read a book. Let me tell you something. A book has pages that are impossibly thin. Look at this. You see how thin that is? You don't have a tool in your house that can measure how thick that page is. It's too thin to measure. But somehow or other you can read this book. How do you do it? You just line the pages up one after another, and then you read one after another, and you do it. And so what Mukunda's genius is, he's taken a certain number of books, he's put them in the packages, and you say, okay, it's impossible to distribute this many books unless you divide them up and you give one to each person. And then, hey, it's one page. We can finish that together. Okay, those are good. And I'm going to do a few more slides.
No. One more thing, some devotees are doing 125 Harinams this year in Brisbane. And in addition to the 12,500 books, we also are planning to distribute 125 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam and CC. So let's see.
Fantastic. We're going to be showing you on the map. And obviously you're in a Gurukul or something down there. Those kids can do huge. Make sure they go out too. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Okay. So a few more points about the MSF and how it works. A sample program I just showed you. And then when you come back from the MSF, this is the golden moment. And actually, this is probably a fake picture. It's a class somewhere, or maybe it is. But what it looks like generally is devotees are hanging out. They just went on in Sankirtan. They're sitting in a circle, and they're taking prasadam together. And we make sure at that time that there is a way that they can share their stories. This is one of the most important parts of the MSF. So say everybody goes out together and you've got, say, 15 devotees, right? And then everybody is invited to come back together to have prasadam. And then we sit in a circle or whatever is most convenient, and we have a good sound system, and we pass around the mic and we ask devotees, so how was it? And that is the golden time. Right, Anukul Seva? What happens? What happens? You've been there for so many of them. What happens during that time?
Typically, just devotees can't contain themselves. Everyone wants to speak, and it's just overwhelmingly exciting, and there's emotions, and yeah, it's just a happy spot to be in.
People talk about how it was my first time out. I didn't think I could do it. Somehow I did it. I followed the template. It worked. Lord Chaitanya gave me some mercy. I mean, the stories that come, they thrill you to the bone. And that's what electrifies everybody. They're never the same after that. Never the same after one outing. And they're able to share that with everybody. And then, the other thing, other devotees in the community might come in and see the devotees who went out. And let's just say the cooks who are supplying all the prasadam. And then they hear everybody just come back and they're discussing it. It electrifies the community, that kind of activity. So important. So make a sharing circle when you get back from the Sankirtan party. It's very important. Okay, then these training sessions are fun. Training sessions are important because when devotees have a template about what to say, they know exactly what to say, then they feel confident and they just try it. And assign the spots to devotees before they go out so they know where they're supposed to go. And also assign easy spots to beginners. Don't, as I said before, don't throw them in the deep end. Put them in an easy place and always send new people out with experience. So find devotees in your group that have confidence, they know how to deal with all kinds of situations, and they also can encourage the devotees and be there as a strong support so that you don't leave new people on their own. Make a group samkalpa. Remember I told you about everybody puts their hands in and we'll make a prayer and then we'll, on 3, everybody say Hari Bol and we throw our hands up in the air. It's like a sports team. And so, everyone feels like it's one team and they're going together. Keep the initial MSFs short and sweet. You don't have to go out for a long time. All you got to do is just do the walkthrough, make sure everyone gets the experience of walking out the door. Better to leave them wanting more at the end of the day. And a lot of times that happens. They don't want to come back. And then share realizations in the circle. Share the results with the committee. This is actual photo of one of our sharing sessions. You'll see one of our co-Sankirtan leaders there reading and offering to Prabhupada, and the whole community, there'll be, a few hundred devotees encircling Prabhupada's Vyasasana and talking about the results of this Sankirtan for the day. We celebrate it together. Not just for the day. We wait till like the end of the marathon or the end of the month to offer the whole thing. Take care of the Lakshmi. Do really good accounting. Statistics are helpful and making sure that everything's measured and taken care of. So have a designated person to take care of accounts. I told you about this one about 5 times. There's number 6. And here's some principles for the MSF. Sankirtan's for everyone. This is an important mantra. It's not just for a few devotees. It's a Sankirtan movement. Let everybody go out together. A lot of devotees each doing a little bit, working together. Study ants and see how they work. They're very cooperative. Be like an ant. Create jobs for lots of devotees, empower devotees. One of the benefits, the community spirit. It's palpable. No pressure to perform. Make sure devotees just know whatever they do, whether they go out, don't go out, whatever service they do, whether it's advocacy, cooking, driving the car, going, distributing books, eating a lollipop, whatever it happens to be, it's good. It's all good. Encourage the heck out of everybody. Teamwork in a festive atmosphere is what the MSF is. And setting goals. Why? Because of what it makes of us to achieve them. So it's fun, organized, and everybody welcome. Our prime directive is to leave everyone with a good impression. So if devotees go out with that mood, then they're right in the groove. And here's our ritual of touching the pavement. This is an actual MSF where we had a morning program. The devotees then all went out together. And here's everybody touching the pavement in the spot near where we're gonna do Sankirtan. And the way we talk about it is, you don't have to do anything more than that. Just touch the pavement. After that, you're done. And anything after that is extra. We emphasize that preaching means giving. Treat people with respect. Offer kind words. Practice reflective listening. Don't be condescending. Make people feel special because they are. Express gratitude. And our motto is always better service. Always look for room for improvement. And remember that we're Krishna's instruments. Remain humble and hungry. Go out for self-purification and pick the right fruits. Picking the right fruits principle is important to teach the devotees, because sometimes devotees worry that they have to go out and convince people to take a book or take to Krishna consciousness. But actually, when you teach them that you're going to look for the right fruits, as when you're going to pick fruits from a tree, you take the ripe ones and leave the unripe ones on the vine. It's not your job to try to pull off the unripe fruits. So when you tell devotees it's more about selection than it is about trying to convince lots of people, then they relax and they just look for nice people. It makes it easier. Let's see if there's any questions. Anything on the board that I'm missing here on Akul Seva?
Yes, there's a couple of points in the chat. I'll just pick those up. So Madhuri Leela Mataji says, I think to get the method of payment ready is also very important for me. She's just reflecting back about payment methods. And we have Shama Sakhi.
Can we emphasize that one for a second? Let's just re-emphasize it, that take the time, the trouble, the expense, whatever it is, to make sure that you have all the ways of collecting money that are available, and make sure that all the devotees have access to it. So when you're out, there's no mishap where somebody says, I have a credit card. And it's like, oh, Bhakta Larry has the machine. He went home, Don't do that. Make sure that everybody's equipped and they're ready to accept. That's our job. We're supposed to accept their donations. And if you can't do your job, it's not a complete yajna. Go ahead, Anukul.
And yes, there is a question from Shama Sakhi Devidasi saying, our city isn't yet fully open and there are restrictions for public gatherings. Are there any tips for doing MSF in that situation?
Well, what's going on now is devotees look for places that are, if somebody's actually committed to going out, we recommend that devotees do it very carefully and safely. And we are finding that when you poke around, don't look at all the old places it used to go, look for new places. We discovered some spots that are quite good recently, like Walmart. Turns out it's a gold mine. And we've also still been doing our work online and doing phone calling and things like that. That's been helpful. If anybody from ISV is on who wants to say about more specific things and comment about that, that'd be fine. Or from anywhere else for that matter. But in the meanwhile, let's see if there's more questions. Oh, yes, Bhagavat Prabhu.
I'm wondering, when are you going to do this with us again? Because I know there's a lot more people here in Sydney that would come to this, but I don't think they properly understood what was going on today. So I'm very concerned about whether we can have this presentation again.
They didn't understand what was going on today. Well, now they know how I feel all the time.
No, I mean,
We can have we can have it all. We're so excited about the MSF and the prospect of spreading this all over the world that wherever there's a need or a desire that we can measure or that's palpable, we'll do it as many times as possible.
so we can schedule this again, say for in 1 month's time, and then I can do a lot of canvassing for this and get a lot more people to this meeting.
Shamahini? Yeah,
Yes, Prabhu.
we'll talk.
Yes.
What is your feeling about the frequency of MSF trainings, and do we have any other ones coming up already?
We don't have another one coming up already scheduled, but we can, I think once next month would be a good time. And especially like Bhagavad Acharya Prabhu said, if we can get the word out to the devotees in Sydney or other parts. Today we have devotees from Japan, Malaysia, Thailand.
We do? Who's
Australia.
on here from Japan?
Ananta Gauranga Prabhu, Jai Shri Prabhu, and Jai Harinam Prabhu.
Haribo. Thank you very much for coming. Okay, well, we had somebody with their hand up. Thank you so much.
So we can do this again in a month.
You will get. Okay, who had their hand? Prabhu, there he is. It's Patita. Hi, Krishna Patita Tarana.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept humble obeisances.
Mine to you.
All
Good to
glories
see
to
you.
Srila Prabhupada.
Haribo.
Yes, Prabhu. I'm from Malaysia, Ipoh, the city of Ipoh,
Akabar.
and all this while the city that I'm living in is it doesn't have much activity, especially outside activity, and it's usually during the temple festival. There's a lot of temple festivals. That's the time that you can see a huge gathering. And other than that, now together with this COVID situation, which is lockdown, and it's not encouraged to go out unnecessarily. So we were more isolated. And I was inspired. To, after this, we had a program called Gita Gyan program in Malaysia, the 18 days program. After that, I was inspired to start to distribute book, and also with these blessings from this great Chiranjiva Prabhu. And he have rekindled that my old passion in book distribution. So the thing is, formally, in fact, I once because in my place we don't have any proper training or any cultivation. It is just like a salesmanship. You just simply take the book and try to go and sell for money, right? That is how we grew up. Then as time goes on, and once in Singapore, I have perpetually converted to Christianity to see how they do their preaching. So I was in Singapore, then I used to follow them for their Harinam. Then equipped with all that knowledge, then what I did, I tried to distribute books as much as I can. But now with this pandemic, as what you said, that this is a great blessing. Actually, it is a great blessing, whereby people are more isolated and people are more frustrated, and they're looking for answer. There are a lot of questions they have. So with this, I came out with this idea: one home, one book, hashtag one home, one book. So I've pledged to distribute 1,000 Bhagavad Gita for this entire year. And Chiranjiva Prabhu said, no, not one home, one book, one person, one book. And he have inspired me to increase my target to 5,000 Bhagavad Gita, which I've taken. And after that, I was in great anxiety. Then I was looking for ways and means how to distribute books. So what I did, I started to leverage with my Gita Gyan students. Then I told them the beauty about Gita and this thing. So when I see one person interested, immediately I will try to push them. I try to press on that button so hard that encourage them. No, you come, let's do it. So I start to distribute 10. And so my target is just now that the Prabhu from Sydney is telling about 125 Gita packed up. Okay, but the problem here, we don't have much enthusiastic devotees to go do Sankirtan. They prefer to stay in the temple and remain in the service, but not to go out. So then with these new people, with this devotees aspiring, so I try to on the first day itself, I start to encourage them. This part of this spiritual movement is to distribute Bhagavad Gita, And I start to see that people are start taking 10, 10, 10. And in a very short period of around 20, 25 days, we have managed to distribute 150 Bhagavad Gita. And we are going on. So what we're doing is, when I see one person interested, then immediately I'll start to say, each person must have a Gita for themselves. It is a private book. It is not something to be shared. So you must keep it very private, and you must have that. It is yours. Okay. So then after that they start to. So what my target is, I need to get to know at least because in average in one family in Malaysia is around three people at least. So that 3 people will introduce another 10. So with that duplication system, we managed to do a mass distribution. And after we distribute the book, we tell them, please inform me the person that you are distributing. And after some time, after maybe a week later, we'll just call them up and ask, how are you reading? How is it going on? And if they are not reading, then we encourage them. So slowly, so we try to develop and cultivate devotees through this way by communication. So the biggest boon in especially at this pandemic is Zoom and online, and we are connected everywhere around the world in this through this platform. So in Ipoh, in my place, what we are doing is I'm not only isolated within this city, but we have been distributing books to all over Malaysia. So we have people from as far south in Johor up to the far north in Perlis, and all these places people are connected, and we are all meeting up online. And what I do, Prabhu, when I see someone, especially there's one Mataji who's not even a devotee, who's just trying out, I have just sent her 10 books. I said, no matter what, distribute the book. And yesterday she just completed her 10 books, and she started to call and tell me the amount of bliss that she has. And I was telling, this is the way of being happy. There's
Well
no
done,
other ritual is more.
Taruna Paru. Thank you very much for sharing. This is an exhibition of what Prabhupada said, is every devotee has his or her own genius. And if you just try, then Krishna will give you the intelligence. And the process that you described is very, very, it gives evidence of how Krishna does give intelligence, how to do that. I have a few extra things I have to say here. One is that our goal now, before Gaur Purnima, and there's only 8 more days, is that we're going to establish at least 10 new MSFs in the world. So far, since we started this campaign, we've got 7 new communities committed. And I'll show you what it means to be an MSF temple to be counted. I'm just going to share screen again for a second here and go to number 112. So I hope you can speed read and see all these things. And here's 112. Okay, here we are. So these are the monthly Sankirtan festivals around the world as they exist right now. Boom. That's where they are. And our goal is 7 new. So the new ones are Rochester. We have one in Italy, Dublin, Punta del Este, Kanpur, Hyderabad, and Hamilton. And so we're looking for 3 more. These are what it means to become a certified MSF center. Number 1, you organize a community book distribution at least once a month. You have goals, something more than 0 and not less than 1. You have support from the local management, GBC, for the vision of book distribution. Can you see these are only the 3 basic things you have to have? Organize a community book distribution at least once a month, have goals, and you have support from the local management. And do it, if you have any intention and inclination, go for it, because we'd like to put you on the map, because that'll be a nice offering that we can do for this marathon, is that we started 10 new ones. Bhagavata Shaya Paru, please go ahead. You're on mute. And by the way, we only have a couple minutes left.
Is this a pledge to start one?
Yes.
Well, West Sydney.
Is Sydney on the map, Shamahini?
No.
No, Prabhu.
No.
Are you saying you'd like to start one? Are you pledging an MSF in Sydney?
Yes.
Okay, let me get my reaction going here. Haribo. Thank you very much. We need 2 more, please. Anybody who wants to?
We'll have one from ISKCON Sydney as well, Prabhu.
ISKCON Sydney. Isn't that what you just said, Bhagavad
No,
Acharya?
I said Greater Western Sydney. There's 2 temples in Sydney.
Get out of here. We just got 2. A twofer. Thank you very much. Who just said that?
Raja Vinoda Devidasi, Prabhu.
Hey, way to go. We got some stalwarts on here. You know that?
Let's see.
I like hanging out with stalwarts. That's what I like.
Let's see, brother. Come on.
Yeah. Speaking of stalwarts, Chiranjeev Prabhu.
Is there a timeline, Prabhu?
Yeah, Gaur Purnima. You can pledge and say you're going to, you don't have to put it on before Gaur Purnima, but if you have the determination, like we just saw come out of Bhagavad Ashraya, he's like, yeah, we're doing this. And you just say, yeah, we're going to do what we pledged to start an MSF. We have what it takes, those 3 things we just showed you, and you want to put it in. We want to have the 10 before, at least 10, I should say. All our goals have the caveat at least, before Gaur Purnima.
It saddens me to see Malaysia is not on the map.
That's why we have the maps. Yeah, definitely.
I have a couple of leaders, temple leaders here on the call, so I can pledge at least 3.
Haribo! You mean 3 separate MSFs in Malaysia?
Yeah.
Kabar bhai. Thank you very much.
So the last, the 3, what do you call the 3 prerequisite management support, that is already there.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. You know, we felt it last year when we connected with you, that we discussed afterwards, we were feeling a strong connection with you. And we felt like there's big things going to happen into 2021 with Malaysia and our world partnership. So thank you very much for your leadership. And you can see this.
Sorry.
No, after you, Prabhu.
Yes, you go ahead.
After you.
No, I have so many aha moments when you were doing a presentation. It's a whole I'm just going through a whole paradigm shift. I mean, from just not the street distribution to how organized everything is. And as you said, hitting the payment is the biggest challenge. But everything is arranged so nicely that you take all that away and just make it so easy for devotees to just go on the street.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Really something.
That means so much. And I'll just say that touching the pavement is metaphorical. I mean, it's literal. Yes, we go out and touch the pavement, but in other words, it means going out of your comfort zone and trying. And so whether that's picking up the phone or trying something new, like we discovered a lot of new things, like last year during Diwali, one of our devotees went around to all the Indian stores. How many are Indian stores in the world? As many Indian stores as Chinese restaurants. And just told them all, why don't you take books? And they did. And then we went around to real estate agents. Who knows who got onto that one, but it turns out real estate agents like to have books and give them out to their clients. And some of them are pledging $500 a month minimum to just keep in books. So touching the pavement means go for it. You know, just try. We don't know how it's going to happen. Nobody does. Prabhupada didn't know. He just said, I'm doing this. And when he said, I'm doing it, Lord Chaitanya said, then I'm backing you up. And that's how Sankirtan is exciting. You know, it's entrepreneurial. We didn't join this movement to sit around and argue about, you know, who did what to whom. We want to go out and change the world. It's a revolution. That's what's fun about it. So this is a book distribution movement. And look, we got Jai Harinam on here. He's the Sankirtan leader in Japan. Jai Harinam, how are you?
Thank you very much. I'm fine. Sorry, Hare Krishna. I'm fine.
You're always fine because you're always chanting the holy name and distributing books. you know, so Japan, Malaysia, Indonesia, Australia, New Zealand. Who else we got here? Give a shout out.
Thailand, Maharaj. We have some Thailand in the chat.
Thailand, Hare Krishna. Sawadee. Sawadee Cup.
Hare Krishna, Guru.
Hare
Please
Krishna.
accept my humble obeisances.
Mine to you.
Go to Srila Prabhupada. So, yeah, there is, we have a book distribution and Harinam going every Sunday here from Lumpini Park. And I mean, I'm really inspired and would like to, I mean, currently I'm not, leading the programs, but I'll definitely, we'll try to, in Thailand, we have around 4 places right now who are doing Sunday Harinams and book distribution. So I'll definitely try to talk to the leaders and we'll see how to get the MSF here. So, but yeah, I think we'll really do that, Prabhu. I still remember when you visited to Lumpini Park and we went to the Harinam book distribution together.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I remember too. I remember too, and it's good to hear your voice. Well, good for you. Congratulations. A few last words, because we're over time, and we're in this together. It's a global team. We're going to take lockstep on this. Prabhupada said centralized book distribution. And that's what we're doing. And it works. And we're one team. Don't care who gets the result. We're going for the world result. We want to cover the earth for Prabhupada. Let the result fly away like a bird. Just try to, I mean, don't claim it. We want to measure it and do well, but not take ownership over everything and just let's compete against ourselves and start small and just be happy by going on Sankirtan and make the devotees happy and try these principles. And if you need help, reach out, because we're here. We have experienced devotees and we can share the wealth. We pass on information. We're all here to help each other. Let's cover the earth with Harinam and book distribution by working together. What do you say? Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if you so desire, please empower our global team to work together to increase book distribution in ways that will amaze the people of the world and give them special mercy. Thank you for considering our request. Everyone who agrees with this prayer in part or in whole, please unmute and say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Bo.
Krishna. Kripa Sindhave Vacha Patitanam Pavanam. Santa Koti Vaishnavinda ki jai. Go pray. Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention one thing, Ashishika Prabhu. China is also on the line.
China.
Yeah, Leela Gopi Manti.
Thank you, Leela Gopi. Hare Krishna. Shishya. Hare Krishna.